The Galactic Community had never faced a greater threat than the Myrams. Ruthless and violent, they were dedicated to war and extermination. Even longtime enemies within the Galactic Core allied to combat them. Decades of total war ravaged the known universe, culminating in the death of the God Emperor. However, some Myram subjects escaped, fleeing on Ark ships to uncharted regions of the galaxy. This forced the United Galactic Front to continue exploring, seeking any potential resurgence of the Myram threat. Grand Admiral Erlong considered it insane to live in such desolate regions. After 350 years, the Second Expeditionary Fleet had found only scattered Myram settlements and no native civilizations. Habitable worlds were incredibly rare, often hundreds of parsecs apart. Intelligent life in such conditions could not expand, and a monoplanar civilization would be no match for the Myrams. As the Grand Admiral pondered these challenges, a detection officer reported a signal. The Admiral ordered communication checks with other ships and demanded identification of the hostile vessels. The detection officer estimated around 12,000 ships. The Admiral, containing his fear, reasoned that these couldn't be full-sized warships, likely fighters, carriers, and a few warships. His own fleet numbered only 5,000, requiring the output of 10 industrial worlds. The Myrams couldn't have such capacity in this galactic arm. The communication officer then reported that the hostiles wished to communicate. This surprised the Admiral. Myrams never negotiated. He cautiously ordered a channel opened. Aware of the potential cyber attack risk, an image appeared on the screen, revealing an unknown creature. The Admiral wondered if it was some genetic abomination created by the Myrams. The creature spoke in formal Myram, apologizing for using their enemy's tongue, but stating it was the only common language. It identified itself as Commander John L. Smith of the 33rd Reconnaissance Fleet, welcoming them on behalf of an unrecognizable word. The Admiral considered this a good sign. Perhaps these beings came from another galaxy. He responded cautiously, identifying his group as sent by the Galactic United Front, careful not to reveal their mission. Commander Smith assumed they were a colonization fleet, noting their lightly armed ships. The Admiral, surprised, confirmed this, seizing the opportunity. Smith stated this was due to their ships being armed, but only lightly. The Admiral feigned surprise. The expeditionary fleets were some of the most powerful in the galaxy. Smith said he needed to consult his civilian council, as this first contact would change everything. The Admiral agreed, and the communication ended. Relieved, the Admiral summoned the Strategic Council. He informed them of contact with a new species, humans. This was unexpected, and they were unprepared. He shared the limited information they had. The humans considered the Myrams enemies and were friendly towards them, even believing the Galactic United Front was a civilian group. The head of observation requested permission to speak and shared images of human ships. One detailed image froze the Admiral's blood. He had seen Myram ships, monstrous temples of steel dedicated to eradication, but compared to the ship on screen, Myram vessels looked like peaceful civilian craft. The human ship was rectangular, bare steel designed for function, with no visible windows, only sensors. But the true horror was its weaponry, a forest of plasma cannons, missile launchers, kinetic batteries, lasers, railguns, and every other weapon imaginable. The only clear spaces were around the hangar bays, which undoubtedly contained equally insane fighters. The Admiral knew he was looking at the most efficient war machine ever conceived. Examining the image further, he noticed something else. The weapons were small. Then he saw the scale. The vessel was twice the size of his flagship. He desperately hoped it was their flagship. He was informed this model constituted the bulk of their fleet, around 8,000 units. The Admiral was incredulous. Such a fleet, possessing power comparable to the combined might of the Myram Grand Imperial Fleet and the United Front, could not exist in such a desolate region. He called for another communication with the humans. The head of communications reported they had received linguistic
Admiral
data
hesitated to
and could now
reestablish
translate
contact.
the human language.
He finally did so.
The Admiral
greeting
was
the commander,
relieved, but then
unsure
learned
whether
they
to call
called
him
their language
human
English
or
not
English.
human. Commander Smith was confused. It took him a moment to understand the language data mix-up. He confirmed. He spoke English, though he wasn't English himself. The admiral asked why they were so friendly, given their aggressive-looking ships. Smith explained they were a young race with limited resources, and their friendliness stemmed from the fact that the Galactic United Front chased the Mirams. He explained that before FTL travel, a small Miram fleet attacked them. They defeated it and used the technology to expand. Reconnaissance fleets like his sought the people who had terrified the Mirams. The admiral confirmed they had indeed traumatized the Mirams, who were now so hasty in their settlements that they neglected infrastructure. Smith then asked for help with infrastructure, as the data they acquired from the Mirams was fragmented. He inquired about asteroid mining, Dyson spheres, Matryoshka brains, and terraforming. The admiral was stunned. Smith explained these were structures surrounding stars to capture energy, computers powered by Dyson spheres, and the process of making barren planets habitable. He asked if they could build such things simply by mining asteroids. The admiral realized their technology was far behind. Smith said they still had to disassemble entire planets using asteroid mining for ship construction. He then asked if their military was strong enough for what was out there. He mentioned 50 reconnaissance fleets, 250 defense fleets, and 150 offense fleets. The admiral said it should be enough. Smith revealed their high command thought expanding the Navy was a waste, preferring to wait for the development of planet ships. Planets turned into impenetrable fortresses with weapons and warp drives. He stated they had found 350 candidates. The actual ships would be highly automated. A corvette requiring 30 men would be handled more efficiently. He mentioned there were only 30 billion humans. The admiral was shocked. Smith then asked if he was all right. The admiral, feeling sick, ended the communication, realizing these humans were insane. Collecting star energy, creating habitable planets, planet ships. No wonder the Mirams weren't building infrastructure. He sent a message to the Chancellor. We're doomed. In a small village, a cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in exchange for its freedom. Whiskers wished for endless fish, a cozy bed, and a bell that rang softly. The fish granted all 3 wishes and swam away, leaving Whiskers content and purring in the sun.